Welcome to the deep dive. Today we're tackling something huge, really opening that door that English skills offer to, well, millions around the globe.
Yeah, and we've got the source document here. It's quite a comprehensive guide, really packed with strategies, resources, all aimed at someone just starting out with English.
Exactly. So our mission, for this deep dive isn't just to list things off.
Right. We want to dig in and really crack this guide open and pull out the key nuggets, the things that will make a real difference if you're a beginner, help you navigate it all.
Because it can feel like a lot, right?
Definitely.
Okay, so let's start where the guide starts. The big why. Why learn English? The source points out, it's everywhere.
It really is. Official or second language in, over 70 countries?
Yeah, and dominant in international business, science, tech, entertainment. It's a global lingua franca, basically.
But what's interesting about the why in this guide, it's not just it's everywhere. It's about what it unlocks for you.
Okay, like what specifically?
Well, think about higher education possibilities, access to jobs globally, reading scientific papers directly, or just, connecting with different cultures. The guide frames it as gaining a tool.
A tool to be a global citizen. I like that.
Yeah.
But like we said, looking at all that, it can seem overwhelming, a huge mountain to climb.
For sure.
The guide, though, it promises a clear path. So what's the absolute first step? Where does it say to begin?
It really drills down to the absolute fundamentals. The very first thing, getting a handle on the alphabet, all 26 letters, and crucially, their sounds.
So sounds, right, not just the letter names.
Exactly. The guide really stresses practicing pronunciation right from the get-go. It recommends things like YouTube channels focused on phonics, how to actually make the sound.
Okay, starting with sounds and symbols, like learning musical notes before playing. Makes sense. After the sounds.
Then vocabulary.
Yeah.
But not just random words. The source makes a really strong point about focusing on the most common words first.
High-frequency words.
You got it. Learning, say, the top 1,000 words, broken down into useful groups, greetings, numbers, food, common verbs, that kind of thing. These words give you massive leverage. They make up a huge chunk of everyday chat.
That's a key nugget. Then prioritize the words you'll actually use. Okay, so sounds, essential words. What about putting them together? Structure.
Yep, you need a framework for those words. So the source emphasizes understanding basic grammar. Really simple structures like subject, verb, object. I eat apples, that kind of basic sentence pattern.
See, absolute bedrock.
Exactly. And understanding simple tenses, articles like a, and the pronouns I, you, he, she, and basic prepositions in, on, under. It even suggests a classic resource like English Grammar in Use for beginners, just to get that foundation.
Okay, foundational trio. Sounds alphabet, high-frequency words, basic grammar. Once you've got those building blocks, maybe not perfectly, but somewhat in place, what's next? The active skills.
Precisely. Once you have some basic tools, it's all about starting to use the language.
Yeah.
And the guide puts a really strong emphasis on listening first.
Listening. Make it a daily habit.
Yes. Daily immersion. Podcasts, songs, movies maybe with English subtitles to start.
Yeah.
Just getting your ear tuned in is vital.
And the guide gives specific starting points, right? Not just go listen to stuff.
Yeah, it does. Good point. It mentions things like ESL Pod. They tend to speak a bit slower, explain things. BBC Learning English is another good one. Clear pronunciation, structured lessons. And VOA Learning English.
Voice of America, right. Designed for learners.
The insight there isn't just about passive listening, though. It's about active listening. Trying to catch words, noticing sounds, maybe even pausing and repeating phrases yourself.
Okay, active listening. Now, here's the part that often feels, intimidating for beginners.
Yeah.
Speaking. The guide has some bold advice here, doesn't it?
It really does. One of the most powerful takeaways from this source, I think, is speak from day one.
Day one. Wow. Don't wait until you feel ready.
Exactly. Don't wait for perfection. Just start forming those simple sentences you can manage with the basic words and grammar you know.
Okay, but that sounds scary. How does a beginner actually do that? Especially if they don't, have someone readily available to practice with.
Well, the guide anticipates that. It tackles the fear head-on by suggesting practical ways in. Things like language exchange apps, HelloTalk, or Tandem are mentioned. You connect with native speakers who want to learn your language.
Ah, reciprocal thing. Lower pressure.
Right. It also suggests just practicing with yourself. Like talk out loud, describe your room, narrate your day, practice sounds in the mirror, even record your voice.
Record yourself. That's brave.
It helps you hear what you actually sound like. And finding speaking clubs, online or maybe locally, the core idea is Take action. Don't just wait and worry.
Action over anticipation. I like that. Okay, so we've got sounds, words, grammar, listening, speaking from day one. What about reading, taking in the language that way?
For reading, the advice is similar. Start simple, really simple. Children's books or graded readers. Those books written specifically for different learner levels.
Level A1, A2, that kind of thing.
Exactly. Then, once you build a bit of confidence, read stuff you actually find interesting. Comics, blogs on hobbies, simple news articles. Make it enjoyable, not a chore. It mentions tools like LinkU or News in Levels to help with vocab while you read.
Keep it accessible, keep it interesting. Got it. And the last of the 4 core skills, writing.
Writing. Again, start small for beginners. Simple sentences are the goal at first. The guide suggests keeping a daily journal.
Even just 1 sentence a day.
Even just a sentence or 2 about your day, yeah. That may be progressed to short paragraphs on familiar topics, hobbies, family. It reinforces the grammar and vocab you're learning. And it points to tools like Grammarly or the Hemingway app.
For checking your work.
Well, yes, but also as learning aids. Seeing why something gets flagged helps you understand the rule better.
Right, it's not just about correction, it's about learning from the correction. Technology seems to pop up a lot as a helper in this guide.
Oh, absolutely. It dedicates a fair bit to leveraging tech. Learning apps like Duolingo, Memrise, Babbel, great for vocab drills, basic structures.
The gamified stuff.
Yeah, it keeps it engaging. And beyond the pronunciation channels we mentioned, it highlights educational YouTube channels too, like Speak English with Mr. Duncan or English Class 101 for lessons.
Entertainment, movies, TV.
Definitely. Watching shows or movies you already know, but switching the audio to English, maybe keeping English subtitles on, actively trying to repeat lines,
Academic.
pronunciation, sort of turns screen time into potential study time.
That does sound way more appealing than just endless grammar drills. But okay, with all these different activities, listening, speaking, reading, writing, apps, videos, how does the guide suggest pulling it all together, making it stick?
Yeah, this is crucial. It really hammers home building consistent study habits. The key insight is regularity over intensity.
So a little bit every day is better than cramming.
Much better. Even 30 minutes to an hour every single day is way more effective than, say, a 4-hour session once a week. And mix it up within that time. Don't just do grammar. Maybe 15 minutes listening, 15 vocab, 15 speaking practice, 15 reading, something like that.
And setting small goals within that daily habit.
Absolutely critical. The guide suggests really concrete, achievable goals, like learn 10 new words today, watch 1 short video lesson, write 1 paragraph. Small wins.
And using tools for that, like flashcards.
Yeah, flashcard apps like Anki or Quizlet get a specific mention. Really effective for drilling that new vocabulary daily.
Okay, so break it down, make it a daily habit, aim for small wins. What about the things to avoid? What are the common pitfalls the guide warns beginners about?
The biggest one, according to this source, without a doubt, the fear of making mistakes.
Perfectionism paralysis.
Exactly. The guide is super clear. Mistakes aren't failures. They are a natural, totally necessary part of the learning process. You have to make them to improve. Don't let wanting to be perfect stop you from actually practicing.
That's huge. What else?
Another big pitfall is relying too much on translation. Constantly thinking in your native language and then translating word for word in your head.
Right, it slows you down and sounds unnatural.
The guide encourages trying to start thinking directly in English as much as you can. Even just simple fonts at first. I am hungry. This is blue.
Forcing your brain to work in the language. Got it. Any other traps?
The third main one highlighted is studying only grammar, just burying yourself in rule books.
But grammar's important, isn't it?
It's essential, yes.
Yeah.
But the source warns that focusing only on rules in isolation won't get you to fluency. You need that balance. You've got to practice listening, speaking, reading, build vocabulary alongside learning the grammar. It all works together.
A balanced diet of skills. Okay, so mistakes are okay. Try to think in English. Don't just live in the grammar book. How does the guide suggest staying motivated? Because let's be honest, it can get tough.
Yeah, motivation is key. It talks a lot about reinforcing positive feedback loops, celebrating the small wins.
Like actually understanding a bit of a song.
Exactly. Or successfully reading a simple news article, having even a very short conversation. Those little victories build momentum. Connecting with other learners is another one. Joining online communities, finding a study buddy.
Shared struggle, shared success.
Right. Support and shared experience help a lot. And, importantly, track your progress. Keep a simple log. How many words did I learn this week? How many minutes did I listen? How many paragraphs did I write? Seeing how far you've actually come, even if it feels slow day to day, is really powerful.
Celebrate the wins, connect with others, track your journey. Makes sense.
It helps you see that every little step adds up. You are moving forward.
Okay, so let's try and bring this all together. We've gone through the foundations, sounds, words, basic grammar, then developing the skills, listening, speaking, reading, writing, using tech, building habits, avoiding those common traps, staying motivated. What's the kind of overarching message, the core philosophy for a beginner from this guide?
I think the biggest takeaway, the one the guide really emphasizes, is that consistency beats intensity. Every time.
Listen often.
Exactly. Small, regular practice is just dramatically more effective than trying to do huge, infrequent study sessions. And tied right into that is embracing imperfection. Mistakes aren't roadblocks, they're stepping stones.
Yeah.
Seriously.
Don't fear the stumble. Just focus on taking the next step.
I like that. And for continuing the journey, the guide points to specific types of resources, right, to keep using.
Absolutely. Beyond the specific examples we mentioned, BBC Learning English for lessons, English grammar in use for rules, maybe ESL Pod for listening, or someone like Speak English with Vanessa on YouTube for speaking tips, the guide really encourages you to explore. Find what works for you, try different podcasts, books, channels, find language partners. Keep it fresh, keep it engaging.
Find your groove. Okay, so as we wrap up this deep dive, there's a final thought in the source material that kind of elevates the whole thing. It says, the journey of learning a language is as beautiful as the destination.
Yeah, I thought that was a really nice touch. And it raises a question for you, the listener, doesn't it? As you start or continue learning English, what unexpected parts of the process itself might you find rewarding?
Beyond just hitting fluency. Right. What about the daily effort, the small discoveries, the connections you make along the way? What parts of the learning adventure might actually surprise you and be enjoyable in their own right?
Something to think about. Stay curious about the process itself and try to enjoy the adventure.